If you're managing customer success in HubSpot, this workspace is about to become your new command center. I'll walk you through how to set up the Customer Success Workspace, how to configure health scores, and even how to bring your own data from your SaaS app if you're working for a SaaS platform and use that data in HubSpot for customer success as well. This way you can get real-time visibility into customer engagement right from within HubSpot. So first, a quick overview. This workspace gives customer success teams the overview that they need to see customer health, to see upcoming renewals, any renewal risk, product usage, and touch points. Who is it for? I would say it's a really good fit for SaaS companies, definitely also for agencies or any subscription-based business really that manages long-term customer relationships. Now, why does it matter? Well, instead of jumping between reports and contact views, company views, like all of the different data that we have in HubSpot, this space gives customer success teams one centralized place to see everything and keep an eye on everything, including customer health, upcoming renewals, as well as any support insights. An example use case, a CSM will start their day in the Customer Success Workspace, instantly seeing which customers are trending down in health score and which ones are ready for expansion. My name is Jasper, I'm a certified HubSpot consultant, and let me share my screen and dive right in. I'll show you exactly how all of this works. So here we are in HubSpot, and first of all we want to go to the left-hand sidebar here. We'll go to Service, and then you can see Customer Success. When we click that, we will see the Customer Success Workspace. This, by the way, is part of HubSpot Service Professional and Enterprise licenses. So if you're not seeing the Customer Success Workspace, or if you don't have access to it, probably because you don't have that license yet, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to get you started on one of these licenses. So first of all, we can have a quick look at the overview here before I show you the settings that go into creating this workspace. So first of all, as we can see, any alerts will show up right at the top here. So for example, if a certain customer is trending down in their health score, that will show up right here. So your CSM can take immediate action. Any tasks that they have that are due today will be easily accessible here as well as any overview tasks. Then when we go down a little bit, you can see the customer views. We have a couple of options here in my demo account. We can see any customers that are owned by me. Since this workspace is always tailored to the person looking at the workspace, we can easily find the customers or clients that are renewing in the next 90 days. And we can also see our at-risk customers. If we want to see the details for these, we can just click on View and we will immediately get a list and see that the health score here is not that great. If we go down a little bit further, we get an overview specifically for the health score. This also shows trending data, but again, since I'm working in a demo account, you're not really able to see the trend. So right now we can just see this is a flat line. But if you look at this in a live account, you will see how your average health score is trending over time. And then the overview at the top here will show you which customers or which percentage of your customer base better is at risk, is neutral, or is healthy. And we can also see that in a nice graph here on the right side as well. The average score over time is something we can look at on a daily, monthly, quarterly, weekly, or yearly basis. So we have a lot of options here as well. And then the reporting at the bottom is a place where you can choose a custom report of your choosing that you would like in your dashboard here at all times. So now let me first show you what goes into setting up the Customer Success Workspace, because that's an important part as well. So when we click on Settings here at the top, here you can see we have a couple of settings for our Customer Success Workspace. First of all, we need to choose which object represents our accounts. So depending on the business, this can be either a company or a contact. In a B2B environment, this will usually be companies, but if you're working in a B2C environment, for example, this will most likely be contacts instead. Then we also want to choose the object that represents our service offering. For SaaS businesses, to use that as an example here, typically we would want to use the onboarding object right here. Right now I'm using the services object because that's one that I have ready here in my demo account, and this will represent the service that I offer. And then for revenue, we want to choose one or two objects that represent how we track revenue. In most cases, this this will be deals. If you would, for example, do this for, let's say, e-commerce, you might have another object in there as well to manage your orders. Then when we go to workspaces, here you can see we can create multiple workspaces. Usually just one workspace should work well. In enterprise environments, you might have multiple workspaces here, so we can change the focus for each workspace. And then last but not least, we have health scores. And this is basically the driving force behind how we are gauging the customer health for our customer success workspace. Before we dive into how the customer health score exactly works, please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more HubSpot excellence. And if you would like to steal my checklist for setting up customer success workspaces, make sure to sign up for my free HubSpot excellence newsletter down in the description, and I will send it to you. Okay, let's continue with customer health scores, and we'll have a look here at the health score that I've set up. In my demo account, of course, I don't have a lot of data to work with, so I created something really simple here just based on CSM sentiment, because that would allow me to show those graphs. But of course, we want to go way further for a real customer health score and a real life account. We have a lot of things that we can look at here to determine that customer health score. So CSM sentiment is actually a pretty important one as well, because if your CSM is having a conversation with your customer and they say like, well, based on that conversation, I don't think this is going really well for them. That is something that we should take very seriously. So I would always recommend for CSM sentiment that it has a big impact on the score. As you can see here, we have a total score of 100 points that we're working with. And right now we just are looking at CSM sentiment. And then, for example, if the last activity date for a certain company, because that's our account object here, is more than 90 days ago, we want to subtract 10 points. Now let me show you a couple of different options that we can work with here. So we can add a new property group, and then we can change the group limit here. So for example, we have this one is set to 100, and then we can change this one. So let's say that for this group, we want to do 30, and this group we want to limit to 70. So the top group would be more important here. This group would be a little less important. And then we can start adding object information here. So for example, we can look at associated contacts, and then for those associated contacts, we want to look at last engagement. And here we can say that if the last engagement date is less than 30 days ago, I want to add 5 points for that. Then another thing that we could look at here is, for example, associated tickets. So let's say last survey rating, any of these options. Then we actually want to subtract 20 points, because then I know the customer is not very happy if they rate the customer satisfaction at 1 to 5 in this specific survey. And then we can also track events. So here you can see we have a lot of options for default event data that's ready to use in HubSpot. So we can look at ads, calls, CTAs, forms, integration events. We have some intent signals that we can work with, marketing emails, but a more important one even there, and I'll show a little bit more about that in a second, is also pulling in event data from the app that you're providing to your customer in the case of a SaaS business again. But here in this case, let's just say if we want to look at forms, and let's say we have a specific form that shows us that they signed up for a webinar, for example. Well, we can actually do that in two ways. So we could do that in form, but just to show you, we could also look at marketing events in that case. So those are two options that we can look at webinars. So just for the demo, let's look at the form here, and then we'll say the form name, and then let's see. I don't think I have a webinar form ready in this demo. So we'll just take like a random form in this case that will represent our webinar. So let's say more information in this case represents a webinar. And then we could say when people sign up for a webinar, we want to add 5 points. Another way to look at it is the second one that I've added here, that is marketing events. And here we can say just like when they attend any marketing event, and this is attendance. So that means that they actually joined the marketing event. Then we want to add 10 points here. For this one, we can also add a group limit as well. So let's say that for this group, we want to do, say that for this one, we want to do 50, and then the top one also 50. Now, once we reach 100, that's the limit that we can reach. So these group limits can actually overlap a little bit in this case. So we'll just leave it like this for now. We can update that score. Oh, one more thing that I want to show you for the health score is under settings. This is also a really important one. This is where we're gonna pick the different thresholds for at risk, neutral, and healthy. And we can even change those labels if we want, but I feel these labels work pretty well in most cases. So that is it for the health scores. Now for those custom events that we were talking about. So if we go to data management here and then event management, here you will see all of the different custom events that we have, or basically all of the events. So any app that you have connected with HubSpot that uses the new events API, like here, for example, Arrows does that will show up right here. But then when we go to the top right here to create an event and create custom event, this is where we can actually send custom data from our SaaS platform, for example, directly to HubSpot. And this is data that we can work with to determine our health scores. I would say the best way to usually do this is to send it through the API. Once this has been set up by your development team, which should be fairly easy, the data will flow into HubSpot, and we can then use this not only for health scores, but also trigger certain tasks, for example, for customer success. So let's say if a customer doesn't log into your app for 30 days or longer, we can send an alert to customer success to flag this, and they might be able to reach out to this customer and see if they're experiencing any issues. So this is where the custom event setup comes in. I'm not going to go too deep into custom events in this video right here. If you would like to learn more about that, let me know in the comments, and I'm more than happy to do another video specifically about custom events. But let's return to our customer success workspace better, because I do want to show you the different tabs that we have here in customer success and how you would typically use those. Before I get into those steps, one quick tip here is for the customer health score, just start simple, and as the data evolves and you get more signals in HubSpot, you can then refine the model going forward. So you can refine the model at any time and it will update in real time. So I would say start simple, work from there. That's usually the best way to go. Now let's get into the workspace walkthrough. So first of all, we already looked at the summary here. There's another thing to note, and that's the little sidebar we have here. And this will show the calendar for the person looking at the customer success workspace. For privacy reasons, I don't have my calendar connected here in my demo account, but your calendar would show up here on the right side. If you click an event and that event is with a customer, you're able to go directly to that customer profile in HubSpot so you can prepare for your upcoming meetings. And then we also have the feed here. In this feed, as you can see, there's one example here for an email that was sent. So any emails that you send, any tracked emails that you send, you will be able to see any activity with those emails right here in this feed. For example, if they clicked on a link in the email that you sent, or maybe you shared a document and they opened that document, viewed certain pages in that document, all of that activity will show up here on the right side. Now the next tab that we have is our customers. And as you can see, we have a couple of default views already here on the left side. So let's look at the first view first. And these are all of the accounts that are owned by me. So where I'm the customer success owner. Right here, you can see that I have 4 companies. 1 of them is at risk. 3 of them are neutral. And then I can also look at their health scores right here. This also allows us to chat with the assistant immediately. So if we want to ask what happened recently with this specific contact, I can use the assistant to ask some questions about that and get information right away. Then we have a separate tab for any at-risk customers, and another one for all of our customers that are renewing in the next 90 days. So this is also good to know. And as you can see here, we immediately see the license renewal date. So we're aware that this is 71 days away. This is 39 days away. This one is healthy right now. This one is at risk. So for the at-risk one, we probably want to try to improve some things in the coming days to make sure that they don't churn in 71 days when they're up for renewal. We can also create additional views here. For now, I'm going to leave that, but you can have multiple views here depending on the different lists that you want to keep an eye on a regular basis. Next, I want to look at services. So when we go to the services tab, and you can just pretend that this is onboarding, I have a very simple overview here with just 3 steps. We have new, in progress, progress and closed. But we could have multiple steps here depending on what your onboarding looks like. So maybe this might be account setup. You would have another stage that's training to start with your platform, and then it might be onboarding completed. So we can set this up customized for your business specifically, and this way you can keep track of the different onboardings that you have going, and we can also add information to these cards here so you get an easy overview of where all of these businesses are at. Again, we can create multiple views here on the left side as well, and we can also view this in a list view. If you have a lot of accounts, sometimes that might be easier and you can sort them based on the create date or the target end date so that you can easily see which of these onboardings should be prioritized. Next, we have the revenue tab, and here you can see we have our renewal pipeline. This is a custom pipeline that I set up in this account where we can easily see how far certain renewals are out, and then we can also see the health score for those specific deals for those renewals. So here we can easily keep track of all of these things, and of course we can go to that specific deal if we want to, but let's just go back here. So yeah, you have everything here that you need. Again, create views if you want to keep track of certain specific renewal deals. Then underneath actions, you will find all of the tasks that are assigned to you as a CSM. We have our different views here so we can easily see which tasks are overdue. And I really need to catch up on some tasks here. So right after this video, I'll get to that. And then we can also see our upcoming. So this one, for example, is due tomorrow. And then we have a couple of them that are due this week as well. Then the next step is, again, the schedule. So this shows us the same thing as in the summary on the right side. You remember from earlier, it just gives us a little bit more space to look at our calendar. And then for the dashboard, here you can add a custom dashboard that you like to use as a CSM, and you will have all of that information right here. So you basically don't need to leave the Customer Success Workspace to quickly look at the most important dashboard that you have. The beautiful thing about having all of this right in HubSpot is because all of that data is of course connected. So we can use any data that we have from sales, any data that we have from marketing, any data that we have from our own app platform, and connect that all within HubSpot, run the necessary automations on that so you don't need to track everything manually, but you get timely notifications whenever that's necessary. For example, when a customer better stopped using a certain feature in your app, we can get an alert for that automatically. And this also makes it really easy to create certain marketing campaigns to specifically improve that customer health. So let's say there are certain features in your app, and we know because we were syncing that data with HubSpot that certain customers are not using those features. Now, we want to make sure that they're getting the most out of the platform. So if these are features that they're paying for, that are part of their license, we want to make sure that they're properly using them. So we can do a marketing campaign with some trainings or maybe some documentation that we send them to make them aware of these features first, and then also train them so we can increase the adoption of these features. Ideally, that would also improve the customer health score and as a result, improve your customer retention as well. When you have successfully set up your Customer Success Workspace, you can proactively retain more customers, identify churn risks earlier on, and spot upsell opportunities faster. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried setting up Customer Success Workspace, and subscribe to the channel for more HubSpot excellence. Also, if you want to take this even further, I would recommend watching this video right here, which is my ultimate guide to HubSpot's email marketing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.